Hashtag Roman Reigns takes out everybody and saves Cody and Punk on WWE Raw ahead of War Games. You want to know what makes my blood boil? When WWE tells us Roman Reigns is done. When they tell us the tribal chief has lost his grip. When they push him aside like yesterday's news and expect us to just move on. And then he comes back and reminds everyone why he's not just a champion. He's not just a competitor. He's not just the head of the table. He's the entire damn table. What happened on Monday Night Raw wasn't just a moment. It wasn't just a segment. It wasn't just another appearance. It was a statement written in blood, sweat, and absolute destruction. Roman Reigns walked into Raw like a wrecking ball made of pure fury, took out everybody in his path, and somehow in the most twisted, shocking turn of events saved the two men who represent everything he stood against. Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, the American Nightmare, the voice of the voiceless. And Roman Reigns just put his body on the line for them. Let that sink in for a second. Because if you think you understand what's happening right now, if you think you can predict where this story is going, if you think War Games is just going to be another match, you have no idea what's coming. Let me take you back to the moment everything changed. Monday Night Raw. The anticipation is suffocating. War Games is breathing down WWE's neck like a monster in the shadows, and everyone knows that the traditional Survivor Series event has been transformed into something darker, more brutal, more unforgiving than anything we've seen before. 2 rings, 1 cage, pure chaos. The Bloodline Solo Sikoa's bloodline has been running roughshod over the entire roster for weeks. Not Roman's bloodline. Not the version that dominated WWE for over 1,000 days. This is something different. Something colder. Something that feels like a twisted, corrupted version of what Roman built. Solo Sikoa, the self-proclaimed tribal chief. Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf bringing an animalistic intensity that makes your skin crawl. Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, the gorillas of destiny, ready to tear through anyone in their path. And Bronson Reed, the massive powerhouse who's been flattening opponents like they're made of cardboard. This isn't just a faction. This is a movement of destruction. And they've set their sights on dismantling 2 of the biggest names in WWE history. Cody Rhodes, the undisputed WWE champion, the man who finished his story by defeating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, has been carrying the weight of the company on his shoulders. He's faced betrayal, he's fought through injuries, he's overcome obstacles that would break lesser men. But now, he's facing a war that feels different. Personal. Vicious. Unwinnable. CM Punk, the man who walked away from WWE for nearly a decade, who came back with unfinished business and unresolved grudges, has been fighting his own battles. The best in the world has always been an island unto himself, trusting no one, believing in nothing except his own ability to outlast, outthink, and outwrestle everyone in his path. These 2 men, these 2 legends, have been forced into an alliance neither of them wanted. Because war doesn't care about your personal feelings. War doesn't care about your ego. War doesn't care if you like your partners. War only cares about one thing, survival. And on Monday Night Raw, survival became the only option. The arena is electric. You can feel the tension crackling through the air like lightning about to strike. The crowd knows something massive is about to unfold, but they can't possibly predict what's coming. Cody Rhodes and CM Punk are in the ring, and the unease between them is palpable. These aren't friends. They're not brothers in arms. They're 2 warriors who've been forced to stand together because the alternative is annihilation. And that's when the Bloodline's music hits. The arena erupts, but not in cheers. In that primal, visceral reaction that comes when you know violence is about to be unleashed. The crowd is on their feet, not in celebration, but in anticipation of carnage. Solo Sikoa leads the charge, and behind him, 4 of the most dangerous men in WWE follow like harbingers of chaos. Jacob Fatu bounces on his feet, eyes wild with barely contained fury. Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa exchange glances that promise pain. Bronson Reed's massive frame moves toward the ring with the inevitability of a landslide. 5 on 2. The numbers game has always been the Bloodline's greatest weapon, and tonight, it looks like an execution. Cody and Punk exchange a glance, one of those brief, wordless moments that says everything. They know what's about to happen. They know the beating that's coming. But they're not backing down. Champions don't run. Legends don't hide. The Bloodline surrounds the ring like wolves circling wounded prey. And then all hell breaks loose. They storm the ring from every angle, and what follows is pure brutality. This isn't a wrestling match. This isn't a segment. This is a mugging, a massacre, an assault that makes your stomach turn because you're watching 2 men get systematically destroyed. Cody fights back with everything he has. Punk unleashes his veteran instincts, using every dirty trick in his arsenal. But it doesn't matter. The numbers are too overwhelming. The assault is too coordinated, too vicious. Jacob Fatu hits a moonsault that shakes the ring like an earthquake. Bronson Reed crushes Punk with a tsunami splash that looks like it could break ribs. Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa deliver tandem super kicks that echo through the arena. Solo Sikoa stands over both fallen men, raising his hand in that familiar gesture that used to belong to someone else. The crowd is booing with a fury that's deafening, but there's something else underneath it. Fear. Because if the Bloodline can do this to Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, what chance does anyone else have? Cody is struggling to breathe on the mat. Punk is clutching his ribs, face twisted in agony. The Bloodline stands over them like conquerors over a battlefield, soaking in the destruction they've caused. Solo raises his hand again, signaling for more. This isn't just a beatdown. This is a message. This is a statement about who runs WWE now. And that's when it happens. The lights shift, the arena explodes in a way that makes the previous reaction sound like a whisper. Because that entrance music, that aura, that presence, Roman Reigns. Quick question number 1, when Roman's music hit, did you jump out of your seat or did you see it coming? Be honest in the comments. The tribal chief, the real tribal chief, walks out onto that stage, and the energy in the building shifts from shock to absolute pandemonium. This isn't just a surprise return. This isn't just a veteran helping out younger stars. This is a reckoning. Roman stands at the top of the ramp, and his face tells you everything you need to know. This isn't the calculated, methodical tribal chief who played mind games and controlled narratives. This isn't the man who sat back and let his cousins do the dirty work. This is something primal. Something raw. This is Roman Reigns absolutely seething with rage, staring down at the ring where his legacy is bloodline, his family, his creation has been perverted into something he doesn't recognize. Solo Sikoa's face goes from triumph to disbelief in a heartbeat. The rest of the bloodline freezes, suddenly aware that the biggest threat they've ever faced just walked through the curtain. And Roman doesn't hesitate. He storms down that ramp with the intensity of a man possessed, and you can see it in his stride. Every step is purposeful, every movement screams violence. This isn't the slow, deliberate walk of the tribal chief making an entrance. This is a warrior charging into battle. He slides into the ring, and what follows is the most beautifully choreographed chaos you've ever witnessed. Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, the man who's been called unstoppable, rushes Roman first. Bad decision. Roman catches him with a Superman punch that drops him instantly, and the crowd loses their collective minds. Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa come next, trying to use their tag team experience to double-team the tribal chief. Roman weaves through their attacks like he's reading their minds, catching Tama with a thunderous uppercut and sending Loa flying over the top rope with a clothesline that looks like it could decapitate someone. Bronson Reed, all 300+ pounds of him, charges Roman like a freight train. The collision should favor Reed. The size difference should matter. It doesn't. Roman meets him head-on with a spear that somehow takes the massive powerhouse off his feet. The ring shakes from the impact, and the crowd is absolutely unglued. And then there's Solo. The two men stand face to face, and the arena goes silent. This is it. The confrontation everyone's been waiting for since Solo started claiming the tribal chief title for himself. The real tribal chief versus the pretender. The original versus the usurper. The creator versus the corruption. They start exchanging blows, heavy strikes that echo through the building like gunshots. Solo is good. He's proven that over the past months. He's powerful, he's ruthless, he's hungry. But he's not Roman Reigns. Roman absorbs Solo's best shots and keeps coming forward like a force of nature that cannot be stopped. He backs Solo into the corner, and you can see something in Solo's eyes that we've never seen before. Doubt. Roman sets up for the spear, the crowd is chanting his name so loud the building might collapse, and he launches himself at Solo with the force of everything he represents: power, legacy, fury, dominance. The spear connects. Solo crumbles. And Roman stands tall in the center of the ring, chest heaving, eyes still burning with that intensity that reminds you why he was the undisputed WWE Universal Champion for 1,316 days. But here's where it gets even more insane. Roman looks down and sees them. Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, still recovering from the assault, slowly getting to their feet, staring at the man who just saved them from complete destruction. The three men lock eyes, and the complexity of that moment is overwhelming. Roman Reigns just protected Cody Rhodes, the man who ended his historic championship reign at WrestleMania. The man who finished his story by taking everything Roman had worked for. Roman Reigns just saved CM Punk, a man he's had countless battles with, a man who represents a different era, a different philosophy, a man Roman has no reason to trust or respect. And yet here they are. Three of the biggest stars in WWE history, standing together in a ring surrounded by fallen enemies, united by, what exactly? Quick question number 2, do you think Roman actually saved them? Or did he just handle his business and they happened to benefit? Drop your take below. The silence in that moment is deafening. Cody and Punk are both wary, both uncertain. Roman's face is unreadable, the tribal chief mask falling back into place, giving away nothing. And then Roman does something that sends shockwaves through the wrestling world. He raises his fist. Not in celebration. Not in dominance. But in that gesture, that bloodline gesture that used to mean family, unity, power, he's offering it to them. Cody and Punk exchange glances, and you can see the calculation happening in real time. They're both smart enough to know that Roman Reigns doesn't do anything without a reason. They know that trusting him could be the biggest mistake of their careers, but they also know that War Games is coming, and the enemy of my enemy is complicated. After what feels like an eternity, Cody slowly, cautiously, raises his fist. Then Punk does the same, though his face shows how much he hates every second of this decision. The three men stand together, fists raised, and the crowd's reaction is split right down the middle. Half are cheering because this alliance is massive. Half are skeptical because they know Roman Reigns always has an agenda. And as Raw goes off the air, that image burns into everyone's mind. Three alphas. Three champions. Three men who have never, ever truly trusted each other, now forced into the most dangerous match in WWE history together. Let's talk about what this really means, because this isn't just good television. This is storytelling on a level that wrestling rarely achieves. Roman Reigns has been gone from the championship picture for months. Since losing to Cody at WrestleMania, he's been existing in this strange space not quite removed from relevance, but not the dominant force he once was. The question has lingered, what's next for Roman Reigns when he's not the champion? When he's not the focal point? The answer, apparently, is chaos. But here's what makes this fascinating: Roman didn't save Cody and Punk out of nobility. He didn't rush to their rescue because he suddenly developed a conscience or because he believes in doing the right thing. Roman came to Raw because Solo Sikoa and his bastardized version of the Bloodline are a direct threat to everything Roman built. This isn't about helping others. This is about protecting his legacy, his family name, his creation. Solo calling himself the tribal chief isn't just disrespectful. It's an existential threat to Roman's entire identity. The Bloodline was Roman's vision, his empire, his dynasty. Watching someone else, especially someone from his own family, corrupt that vision must feel like watching your life's work burn. So Roman did what Roman always does: he took control through absolute dominance. The fact that Cody and Punk benefited from that? That's almost incidental. A side effect of Roman handling his business. But now that they've stood together, now that they've formed this temporary alliance, the dynamics become infinitely more complicated. Cody Rhodes has every reason to distrust Roman. Their history is written in blood and broken promises. Roman tormented Cody for years, manipulated his family, used every psychological weapon in his arsenal to break Cody down. The fact that Cody finally overcame Roman at WrestleMania was the culmination of a story that nearly destroyed him. And now he's supposed to trust that same man? Fight alongside him? Depend on him when the stakes are highest? But Cody is also smart enough to understand reality. War Games isn't a normal match. It's not about individual glory or proving who's better one-on-one. It's about survival. It's about strategy. It's about having the most dangerous people possible on your side. And like it or not, Roman Reigns is the most dangerous weapon you could possibly have. Cody can swallow his pride for one night if it means walking out of War Games intact. He can put his personal feelings aside if it means protecting his championship and his position. He can work with the devil himself if the alternative is destruction. That's what champions do. They make hard decisions. They accept uncomfortable alliances. They do whatever it takes to win. But that doesn't mean Cody isn't watching Roman's every move, waiting for the inevitable betrayal, preparing for the moment when the tribal chief shows his true colors. CM Punk's situation is even more complicated, because Punk trusts no one. His entire career has been built on self-reliance, on the belief that everyone will eventually let you down, on the philosophy that the only person you can truly depend on is yourself. He's been burned too many times by promoters, by partners, by people who claim to have his back. The idea of relying on Roman Reigns, someone Punk has never had a real alliance with, someone who represents everything Punk has criticized about modern wrestling's political games, must be absolutely eating him alive. But Punk is also a realist. He knows what's coming at War Games. He knows the Bloodline isn't just physically dangerous, they're smart. They're coordinated. They're willing to do whatever it takes. Beating them alone isn't possible. Beating them with just Cody probably isn't enough. But adding Roman Reigns to the equation? That changes everything. So Punk makes the calculation. He holds his nose and accepts the alliance because winning is more important than pride. Because surviving is more important than principles. Because sometimes you have to make a deal with someone you despise to defeat someone you hate even more. But make no mistake, CM Punk is not going into War Games with blind faith. He's going in with eyes wide open, ready for anything, prepared to shift alliances the second Roman shows his true intentions. That's what makes Punk dangerous. He's always 3 steps ahead, always ready to adapt, always willing to be the bad guy if it means protecting himself. Quick question number 3, who breaks first? Do you think Cody or Punk turns on Roman, or does Roman betray them both? Make your prediction, ****, and then there's Roman himself, the most complex piece of this entire puzzle. What is Roman Reigns thinking right now? On the surface, his motivations seem clear: destroy Solo's corrupted bloodline, reclaim his position as the true tribal chief, restore his legacy. But Roman has never been a surface-level character. He's always operating on multiple levels, always playing a longer game than anyone realizes. Is this really just about stopping Solo? Or is Roman using Cody and Punk as pawns in a much larger strategy? Think about it, Roman is now positioned perfectly between the two top faces of the company. He's inserted himself into the main event picture without needing a championship or even a clear storyline. By saving Cody and Punk, he's made himself essential to their survival. And when you're essential, you have power. When you have power, you have control. When you have control, you're back at the head of the table. Roman Reigns might have just executed the most brilliant manipulation of his entire career, and Cody and Punk walked right into it. They needed him in that moment, and now they owe him. They're bound to him through this alliance, connected through War Games, dependent on his participation. Roman has gone from being outside the championship picture to being the most important player in WWE, all without holding a single title. That's not luck. That's genius. But there's another layer to consider: what if Roman actually needs them too? Solo's bloodline isn't a joke. Jacob Fatu has been legitimately dominant. Bronson Reed has been unstoppable. Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa have proven they're more than capable. This isn't a group of lackeys following orders. This is a legitimate threat that Roman can't handle alone. Maybe, just maybe, Roman actually requires Cody and Punk to defeat them. Maybe this alliance isn't manipulation at all, but actual necessity. Maybe the tribal chief is learning that even he can't conquer everything alone. That would be a fascinating character evolution. Roman Reigns, the man who spent years proving his individual dominance, finally accepting that some battles require unity. Or maybe that's exactly what he wants everyone to think. With Roman, you never really know. And that's what makes him the most compelling character in wrestling. Let's talk about War Games itself, because this match is about to become one of the most brutal, chaotic, unpredictable events in WWE history. For those unfamiliar with the concept, War Games is wrestling's version of hell. Two rings side by side, enclosed in one massive steel cage. Teams enter at timed intervals. There are no pinfalls, no submissions, no disqualifications until everyone has entered. Then it becomes complete chaos. The only way to win is to make one of your opponents submit or pinfall them. It's designed to break bodies and destroy spirits. And this year's War Games has the perfect storm of ingredients for absolute carnage. Team Bloodline: Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Bronson Reed. 5 men who have been functioning as a cohesive unit for months, who have chemistry, who trust each other's instincts. They've been preparing for this exact moment. Team, what do we even call them? Team Uneasy Alliance? Team forced together by circumstances? Team This is definitely going to explode? Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk, 3 of the biggest egos in wrestling history, 3 men who have zero history of successful partnerships, 3 alphas who are fundamentally incapable of following anyone else's lead. Oh, and they still need 2 more members to make this a fair fight, which opens up an entirely different set of questions. Who do they trust enough to bring into this match? Who's willing to step into War Games with this dysfunctional family? Who's brave enough or crazy enough to align themselves with this powder keg waiting to explode? The potential options are fascinating. Do they bring in Sami Zayn, who has history with the Bloodline and with Roman? Do they recruit Kevin Owens, who has unfinished business with the entire Samoan dynasty? Do they look for younger stars trying to make a name for themselves? Every option comes with complications. Every potential partner brings their own baggage, their own motivations, their own potential for betrayal. Because here's the dark reality of War Games: it's not just about defeating the enemy team, it's about surviving your own partners. In that cage, with adrenaline pumping and violence escalating, with bodies breaking and tempers flaring, how long before the fragile alliance shatters? How long before Cody and Roman lock eyes and remember WrestleMania? How long before Punk decides the biggest threat isn't across the ring, but standing next to him? How long before Roman realizes he can eliminate everyone, enemies and allies, and stand tall as the last man? Quick question number 4: if you had to add 2 more people to team with Roman, Cody, and Punk for War Games, who would you pick and why? What makes Monday's Raw moment so brilliant is that it didn't answer questions, it multiplied them exponentially. We're left with infinite possibilities, and that's what great storytelling does. It doesn't wrap everything up neatly. It creates situations so complex, so layered, so unpredictable that you have to keep watching because anything could happen. Could Roman help Cody and Punk win War Games cleanly, cementing this as a legitimate alliance? Absolutely. Could Roman betray them mid-match, revealing this was all a setup to destroy both Cody and Solo's bloodline simultaneously? Completely possible. Could Cody or Punk betray Roman first, deciding that eliminating the biggest threat is more important than winning the match? Wouldn't surprise anyone. Could all 3 men actually learn to work together, forming an alliance that continues beyond War Games? That would be the most shocking outcome of all. The beauty of this story is that every single one of these scenarios is believable. Every outcome feels earned. There's no right answer that everyone's expecting. And in an era where wrestling often feels predictable, where you can see the swerves coming from miles away, this story has created genuine uncertainty. Nobody knows what Roman is thinking. Nobody can predict Punk's next move. Nobody's sure if Cody can hold this together or if his leadership will crumble under the weight of these massive personalities. There's something else happening here that's worth examining: the evolution of how WWE tells stories. This isn't your traditional good guys versus bad guys narrative. This isn't heroes standing tall against obvious villains. This is morally ambiguous, character-driven storytelling where everyone has legitimate motivations and nobody is purely right or wrong. Solo Sikoa believes he's the rightful tribal chief. From his perspective, Roman abandoned the bloodline, walked away from his responsibilities, left them vulnerable. Solo stepped up when Roman stepped away. He filled a power vacuum. He did what he thought was necessary. Is he wrong? Objectively, yes, it's Roman's legacy. But from Solo's point of view, he's protecting the family business. Roman Reigns believes he's reclaiming what's rightfully his. He built the bloodline from nothing into the most dominant force in wrestling. Solo is a pretender, a false prophet, someone using Roman's creation for his own agenda. Is he right? Absolutely, it is his legacy. But Roman also did abandon them. He did disappear after losing the championship. He left a void that someone was always going to fill. Cody Rhodes just wants to survive and protect his championship. He's not particularly interested in bloodline family drama or tribal politics. He just knows that Solo's faction is targeting him, and he needs allies. CM Punk just wants to prove he's still the best. He doesn't care about legacy or family or championships. He cares about being the last man standing, about showing that after everything he's been through, he's still the most dangerous performer in the business. Every character has clear, understandable motivations. Every action makes sense from their perspective. Nobody's making decisions just to serve the plot. They're acting based on who they are and what they value. That's sophisticated storytelling. That's what elevates wrestling from entertainment into art. The implications of this story reach far beyond just War Games 2. If this alliance somehow works, if Roman, Cody, and Punk actually defeat Solo's bloodline together, what happens next? Does the partnership continue? Do they go their separate ways? Does it eventually lead to a triple threat for the championship? If the alliance falls apart, who benefits most from the chaos? Does Solo's bloodline capitalize on the infighting? Does someone completely unexpected emerge from the rubble? If Roman betrays everyone, does he go after the WWE Championship, or does he focus on completely destroying what Solo has built? Does he try to rebuild the bloodline in his image again, or does he finally embrace being a solo force? If Punk or Cody betrays first, how does that change their character trajectories? What does it say about their priorities and their willingness to compromise their values? Every single possibility branches into multiple new storylines, each more compelling than the last. That's the mark of truly exceptional wrestling storytelling, when one moment creates 100 different futures, all of them fascinating. Let's address the elephant in the room too, the crowd reactions. Wrestling fans are divided on this, and that division is exactly what WWE wants. Some fans are all in on the Roman redemption arc, loving that the tribal chief is back and destroying everything in sight. They see this as Roman reclaiming his throne, proving that nobody can truly replace him. Other fans are skeptical, arguing that Roman hasn't earned redemption.